Okay, so we're back. I had a little edit there. So we're talking about pentatonic, but we're also talking about the diatonic. The diatonic is simply all of the notes. So this is all of the notes. This is a pattern, and it should play. It should play, so it'd be root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the 7 root 2's there somewhere. You just have to find it. It kind of lines up. The 6 lines up with the 7 root 2, so it's right justified, and then it's straight up from there. 3, 4, 5, but on the B string you have to raise the pattern up. Now I don't show it there because you can start this pattern anywhere and you don't know where that B string is going to go. So this is independent of which string you start on. I just happen to have started on the bottom. So we have the 6, 7 root is going to be, there's another G string right there, G string shape, and then D is 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's say we started at 2, 3, 4 down here. We'd go to a 5, 6, 7 on top. Like that, and around again to root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that, and then 7 root 2. But that 7 root 2 now is over 1 because that's where the B string is. And then up to the C string shape 3, 4, 5. So if you start 3, 4, 5 here, we go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, warp up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root, 6, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, warp up, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, warp up, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3. Okay, so those are the diatonics. So when you're doing some kind of, I don't know, a groove or something, you want to play, let's say you're doing something with a C shape there. Okay, and you make your melody in there somewhere, anywhere you want. Same problem on piano. What is the melody? Yeah, you could sing it, but I tried singing, and then all of a sudden I started doing weird stuff that was an adjustment out of the, like the Neapolitan sixth or something, and I realized I changed the key right away because we can think things that, when you're playing like one note at a time, when you're singing one note at a time, so you can, you can just modulate that whole thing, the whole key with you. You can change keys, make adjustments very easily with one key. But if you had to support each of those changes with 3 chords, you'd want to know what you're doing with 3 notes. So you take the melody note and have 2 notes underneath it. Melody note's always on top. That's one thing to remember. So we're not doing too bad here. So let's see if we can't go back to the original chart. This is the circle, the modal circle. So instead of the cage system, we have the C3, C4, A5, G6, E7, E root D2 system. That's kind of difficult. It's like caged. It's got 2 E's and 2 C's in it. The Phrygian 5-6 is 3, 4, 5. Now, why do we have a 5-6 here? This particular drawing here was the cutout. Begins with the outer note of the bass string. Okay, so ignore these are the cutout strings. So in other words, you have 3, 4, 5 on the bottom. When you get to the G string, you're going to play 5, 6, and then cut out of the long pattern 5, 6, 7, and pick up the 7 on the B string. So don't worry about these little notes up here. Just look at the circle here. Okay, so instead of caged, we go around like this modally. Okay, so we got 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7 roots, 7 root 2. Do you get it? They're advancing by 1 each, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2. These circles are helpful. So again, we have our string shapes here, and you would want to memorize these because it's easy. That is what the system is. Easy way to remember the string shapes. Start on C. This is where your fret nut is. So we'll just make this into a regular E-tune guitar now. So it's 3, 4, 5. Now why are we doing it in the key of C? Because caged is in the key of C, isn't it? Because it starts here with a C-shaped C. Then we got key of caged is C, key of A, key of G, key of E, and key of D. Okay, but what happens if I take this? Let's look at the next cage shape up in the key of C. If I go to C and then go to an A there, there's an A triad, right? If I take that A triad up and bar it, okay, that the G there becomes the fifth of C. Just like in playing a real deal A down here, the E is the fifth of A. Okay, so here's our A shaped C. Now if we take the G shape, bar it, that's a G shaped C because we just took the G shape, key of G, and we brought it up to here, and now it's the key of C. Okay? So we can do the diatonic there, but we can do the short patterns because we can go below that imaginary fret nut, right? Whereas down here, to get everything in the G pattern, we have to use the long pattern. The long pattern starting from the low G is 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, and then into the long pattern. So it'd be 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. It's gone from the G to the next cage up. The next cage letter is E. 7, root 2 is your E string shape. Right there. E is 7 root 2, root being G at this time. So the long patterns always bring you up to the next cage up when you get to the top of the scale, or you can cut out and exploit the bottom, the open strings entirely, not going up to the next cage, but certainly you would be repeating the top and the bottom string. So what's the B string become? The fourth string shape of that top string. So the fourth string shape of the G string shape, the fourth of G is C, would be the C string shape. It would be right there. Instead of like something like we went from the G to the E string shape, which was 7 root 2. Right, so we had something like okay, instead of went up a little higher on the when we played the pattern into the next string shape. It goes up one more note there. So that's a little bit more about the string shapes. And remember, there's a reason why we have the long patterns. Okay, so we can play away from the string, from the fret nut, but also they give us the modals. So remember we talked about the dot scale and how any note can be the root, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh of a different scale, of the dot scale. So these string shapes are modal. You can start any of the modal scales from each of these string shapes here. Okay, so we got root 2, 3 would be Ionian, would it not?